Hey Lon, hi folks, it's Lev. Welcome back to another video. For those of you who are new, I use him pronouns. I'm back with this cupboard background, and the previous 3 videos I filmed, I was not at my house, so that's why the background was different. Anyway, today's video, as you may have seen from the title, I want to talk about an Annabelle escape room I did and reflections about fear. And just a disclaimer, like, I'm not gonna be showing any of the escape room footage in this video or like anything like that. If that's what you came here for, it's just gonna be me talking about it and reflecting on stuff. So there's no like actual footage of me in the game with my friends because we weren't allowed to bring phones in. So yeah. And another disclaimer is that I'm gonna be talking about the room itself and like what we did. So if you plan on doing the Annabelle escape room here in Melbourne, it's from Lost in Melbourne, the Annabelle escape room. I don't recommend watching this video because there's spoilers in there. So maybe give this video a miss until you play the room if you want to play the room and not get spoiled. So I love escape rooms, and I've wanted to do this Annabelle escape room for a very long time. And I had me and 3 of my friends, so it was 4 of us. And I haven't done a escape room with a group in a very, very long time. The last time I did an escape room with a group was like in 2015 or 2016, ages ago. Because the past few years I've done it, I've only done with one other friend and not in a group or squad. So the first room when we went in, it was just like there was a baby crib, a lot of creepy music. Actually, they played creepy music throughout the entire game, and the escape room went for 1 hour, but we got out in 63 minutes, so just over an hour. And there was like boxes, and there was actually like a hole in the ground that was covered by carpet, and then we removed the not carpet, a mat. We moved the mat, and there was like a box underneath the ground, and there was like a light, and it was very dim. Like we could barely see anything. There was only like one main light source and like a few tiny lights, but it's very dim, and it was like a very eerie environment on purpose. And the first thing we did was like we found a piece of paper. We knew we had to get the key to get to the next room, and we found a piece of paper, and that was the clue. And we had to like shine it over the brightest light in the room, and I don't know how they did it, but like a bunch of the letters just erased itself after we held it over the light. I don't know what this thing is called, and there were like 5 letters remaining, and then we used the remaining letters to open the letter combination lock that we found from under the ground. It was like a trapdoor. After we removed the mat, there was a trapdoor. We opened that, and then we found the box. And then we had to use drumsticks to get a key to maneuver the. So it was like a key in a glass box thing, and there were like little holes on the sides, and we had to use drumsticks to navigate it up. So it's like platform, 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 and we had to use the drumsticks to get it out because we couldn't fit our hands in there. That was the first room. It took us quite a while because we had like removed the mat on the ground, and we were like, oh, a trap door. But we didn't think much. We didn't think that was anything. Like we thought like, oh, we're probably not supposed to move that or like open the thing. But in the end, there was actually like a box with a hint in it that we had to use. So that was the first room. In the first room, actually, there was a sign that said, Lev will be sacrificed tonight. And I was saying to my friends, like, it was nice knowing y'all, I'm gonna die tonight as a joke. And they put my name there because I was the one who booked the escape room and paid for it. So it was under my name. The booking was under my name. That's why they said Lev will be sacrificed tonight. Anyways, I survived, and that's how I'm here making this video. Second room. It was a bigger room, a table in the middle, a bunch of two cabinet cupboard. Was it cupboard cabinet? I don't know. Cabinets on one wall, another cabinet on this wall, a giant table in the middle, and on one of the walls, it was like a bunch of creepy photos of like Annabelle and like all these horror things, and there was like Annabelle in a glass box. It was Annabelle in a glass box, like in the movie, but it wasn't the real Annabelle. It was like a replica. It didn't look like the movie Annabelle, but it was Annabelle nonetheless. In a glass cage, and then there was another door, there was an exit door, there was another door to the next room, and there was also like a corner that was like pitch black, could not see a thing, but we had to get something from there. So we walked in the second room, tried to find clues. There were like a bunch of combination locks with letters, more letter combination locks, and we had to unlock like 4 or 5 of these locks to get the clues to open the door to the next room. So I actually went into the pitch black corner to explore, and I was just like touching and like, oh, what's here? I found like a little, I don't know what it's called, but like a little box, and then I found a Holy Bible in there, and we actually needed the Bible to get to the next room. So went into the pitch black area, found a Holy Bible, and then I forgot to explain the context of the room. So the players are exorcists, and our goal essentially was to seal, I forgot what it was, to seal something to stop the curse or something. We had to, we're exorcists basically, trying to stop this thing from, I don't know, spreading, or like, yeah, we had to do like exorcist stuff. Anyway, we actually spent a bit of time in that second room trying to figure out what the hell to do. But and then there was also a help phone. So when we all got stuck, I called the help phone. It goes to reception, the worker, and they give us a hint. And they're like, you have to bring something from the first room into the second room and use it. And we didn't know what this object was, so we literally brought everything we got and every like loose thing that wasn't like attached to walls or the cabinets or anything. We brought all of that into the second room. But we only needed like one thing from that room, but we didn't know what it was, so we brought everything to the second room. And then it was actually like a cross. I think it was like a baby's head on the cross. And we had to put that cross in a hole on the table, and then that triggered a mechanism, activated it. And then we got like a guide thing, like one piece of paper that's laminated, and it's a guide to unlock all of the word locks, because it was like code. There were like codes all around the room, and we had to decipher the code using the I don't have words today. The guide paper thing. We had to use that to decipher the code and unlock all the locks. And after unlocking the locks, we found clues to navigate like these different horse heads that were like stuck in the room, and we had to angle it in the right direction using the little clues we got from each locker and the Holy Bible. And there was also a point where I had to like, the bookshelf cabinet thing was like movable, and we like moved half of it, and it formed a staircase up to this attic thing. And then I climbed up there. It was just like a wheel thing that we needed to use to get to the next room. And in the third room, there was like a giant mechanical zombie looking thing. I don't know if it was a zombie. It was like some horror looking thing. And there was a rocking chair. And from my experience in the first room I did at Lost in Melbourne, I also did Survivor there with my friend last year. I knew that once I sat on the rocking chair that it was gonna trigger the mechanism, and that thing was gonna come to life and start screaming and hanging for a while. So I wasn't sure if my friends were aware, but I think I sat on the chair too fast, and I didn't actually warn them, hey, when I sit on this chair, this thing's gonna come to life. And I sat on the chair, and then like it came to life, and all the lights came up. Because when we first went into the room, it was pretty dark, and then once I sat in the rocking chair, it came alive. And then there was like a number on the side of the rocking chair, and then that number corresponded to a page in the Holy Bible that we had to use to activate the next mechanisms. I forgot. With the horse head things, we also had to decipher the code to find the page in the Holy Bible that directed us to where each horse head should be facing, because there was like pride, prejudice, happiness, and loneliness or something, and the info in the Holy Bible was guiding us on which direction the horse head should be facing to activate the mechanism to get to the next room. And back to the page number, yeah, it directed us to the page number, and then we had to touch these different lights in corresponding order, and the number of lights touched depends on the number of players in the room. So there's like the packs in the room was 2 to 8 players, the packs was 8 players, so there was 4 of us, so we did the thing that had 4 players. And then after we did that, me and one of my friends got separated from 2 of my other friends because 2 of the mechanisms were in the 3rd room, 2 of the mechanisms, the lights we had to touch, were in the 2nd room. After we all touched the lights in order, we got separated. The door that's between the 2nd and 3rd room, it shut, and we were separated for the rest of the game. Actually, there was a funny part that, like, there was a point where the exit door had actually opened and we didn't open it, and it wasn't supposed to open, and I started crawling underneath to see where the tunnel led, and I'm like, wait, this is the exit. And then the worker saw me and he came to the room, he's like, that door's not supposed to open yet. And it was an accident, so the worker closed the door, and then we continued playing. Anyway, back to the actual game. We got separated, and then me and one of my friends, we had to draw these symbol things on a whiteboard and then slide it underneath the door, and then my other 2 friends had to decipher it, the symbols, because the symbols correspond to a number code that can be typed into a keypad, and that unlocked the actual exit door for us. And then two of my friends in the 2nd room were ambivalent to open the door, so they had typed in the code, the light went green, and they had to open the door, which ended up being the exit door, but we didn't know it was the exit door. But they were a bit hesitant to open the door because they didn't want something jumping out at them. But then in the end, they opened the door, and it ended up being the exit door, and then me and my other friend crawled underneath the little tunnel thing to get out. So 2 of us exited one way, 2 of us exited a different way. And that was the game. I forgot to mention as well, in the 2nd room with the Annabelle in the glass cage, there was a point where we activated a mechanism. The entire room went pitch black. The entire room went pitch black in the 1st room once as well. 2nd room, it went pitch black. And then once the light went back, there was like a rumbling sound during the darkness. Pitch black. All the lights went off. And when we looked back at the glass cage where Annabelle was gone. And then there was a note in like blood-colored text saying, "Miss me," with a question mark. And that was pretty creepy. But I liked having Annabelle there because it added to the eeriness of the room, but like that "Miss me" was pretty creepy as well, but it's not the same thing as having Annabelle there. Yeah. So the first part of this video was me explaining the room and sharing what it was like and what we did and the nature of the puzzles. Second part of this video is me talking about my reflections on fear. So a little bit of background context for those of you who may not know me or this about me is that I used to be shit scared of horror. As a kid, and even in my early 20s, I'm only 24, but early 20s as in like 20, 21, 22, I was shit scared of horror. I avoided horror movies, and every time I got jump scared or like I saw a horror movie, not even an entire horror movie, like literally seeing one scene. I remember seeing the Psycho scene, the Psycho shower scene where the woman was being murdered by like Norman Bates. That replayed in my mind for months, and then I couldn't shower without thinking that I was going to die from this shadow coming to stab me to death. And I remember when I was younger, like, as well, like early, like 13, 14, I was scared of Goosebumps. Like, I read Goosebump books, but seeing the film, even like seemingly minor jump scares with like a character in a mask scared the shit out of me, and I would like not be able to sleep properly and just ruminate again in my head that I would be jump scared, and I was just like on edge and nervous all the time. I think this did, like, I also experiencing bad anxiety at this time too, and I didn't know how to manage my emotions, and my nervous system was whack. And then my nervous system was really dysregulated, basically. Like, and I was like scared of the dark. I didn't want to go in the dark. I was very jumpy. Like, I jumped very easily, and I just did not like jump scares. And jump scares would give me nightmares for weeks and months on end. I avoided everything horror, and even if like a movie or something included the word horror in it, I would just be like, nope, bye, and just avoid horror. Anything that had horror, some degree of horror in it, I avoided everything completely. And this background context is important because I've come a very long way since then. Like, I'm not scared of the dark anymore. I like horror. Like, I used to avoid horror so much and run away from it because it scared the shit out of me. Now that I've confronted this and overcome this fear, I like love horror. I love horror movies. I love horror games. I love horror escape rooms. Ask me at 16, Lev, you're gonna do like a horror escape room and not have nightmares and be like, have no fear. I'll be like, fuck no, that would never happen. And part of me overcoming this fear of horror is actually learning how to regulate my nervous system and teach it that, yes, jump scares, but you are safe. Jump scares, but you are safe. And it has taken me years and years and years of like therapy, changing automatic habits, changing my mindset, my self talk, the way I talk to myself about horror, everything. A lot of effort, a lot of consistent work has led up to this point. Like, it wasn't like I'm scared of horror and then I wake up the next day, click my fingers, and boom, I'm not scared of horror anymore. Like, it didn't work like that. Also, normalizing to myself that yes, you experience adrenaline when there are jump scares. I'm not saying I never experience jump scares or that my adrenaline doesn't go and my fight and flight doesn't go off. I'm saying, like, it's more like it does experience. My heart rate does increase. My physiological response does happen, but I no longer associate it with fear. Like, I don't think, oh my god, just because my heart rate is increasing, it means I'm scared. I broke that association. I think, okay, this is happening because it's a stressful situation, but you are safe, Lev, and there is no threat around here. I literally came into this Annabelle room experiencing no fear, and I didn't jump. Even when there was a jump scare, lights went off, I didn't jump like I used to. Like, I didn't flinch either. Because again, I taught myself it's okay, you're safe. And after I confronted my fear of horror and overcame it, I started enjoying it more. And so I broke the connection between, oh my god, this is the scariest thing ever, and then you're going to die every time you watch a horror movie or have a jump scare or experience a jump scare, until like, yes, things might jump out. The dark isn't, you can't see anything, but it does not mean you're in danger. And I've trained my nervous system and my brain to disassociate fear from physiological fight or flight response. And that's why I felt very confident in like doing the scary stuff. Like, when my friends were a bit reluctant or hesitant to open doors, be the first one to go into the next room, or like go up the little bookshelf cabinet staircase thing up to the attic area to get the item, or go into the pitch black corner and see what's there, I did not hesitate at all. It's like they appeared a bit reluctant. We were like, I didn't want to like waste time essentially sitting there debating who should go and get the thing, who should go first, who should go and do that. And when I saw the doubt and hesitancy, I'm just like, okay, I'm going. Within like a second, like, I did not hesitate to go. I'm just like, okay, I'm going. And there was no way I could have done that like even 2 years ago. There was no way I could have done it. No way. And overcoming fear, like learning how to control my emotions and keep my nervous system calm, even if the situation around me may be chaotic, scary, unpleasant, like all the lights going off in the room, not going off, all the lights turning off in the room, pitch black, training myself that my body might be experiencing these responses. Psychologically, though, I'm safe. And keeping a clear head and being able to take action like this where required, despite the situation being not so great and my physiological response going off, still controlling this and keeping clear headed to take action. That's one of the main takeaways I've gotten from doing this room and seeing how I've performed and how I responded to situations. Oh, going into a room first because there might be a jump scare, no problem. Going up the staircase thing to attic, get an item, no problem. Going to the pitch black corner to see what's there, no problem. Like, did not hesitate at all. And just the point of me sharing my background context earlier on was to give you an idea of my growth journey and how it takes a lot of work to get to where I want to be today. Like, I don't want you to think that I'm some like magician who just woke up one day and snapped his fingers and then I've overcome my fear of horror and I know how to control my nervous system. It's like a lot of behind the scenes work. Like, I talk about it in my videos, I talk about it on YouTube, but a lot of the work is done off camera. And I do believe anyone can grow into who they want to be with consistent effort and grit. Like, this isn't I do it for 1 week and then all these magic improvements happen. For me, it's a lot of small steps. Steps that I take that where results may not be noticeable at first, but then as the time goes on and my effort starts compounding, that's when I start noticing change and results. Sometimes I do stuff and I don't notice change right away, but that's all part of the journey. It all counts in the end. And in terms of my nervous system, there may be situations in life where I do experience a physiological response, but the situation is not safe, and I know that my life may be at risk or it is a dangerous, precarious situation. And I'm not going to like pretend that the situation is safe when it's not. But I can reassure myself that my body is activating this response and it's doing all of this in order to keep me alive. It's an evolutionary thing and inherent in all humans. I can't change that. It's trying to keep me alive. It doesn't necessarily know, my body necessarily know what is a real threat and what is not a threat. And that's for logic and my brain, my prefrontal cortex specifically, the area of the brain responsible for logical reasoning, judgment. That makes the judgment. And I can tell myself the situation may not be safe and my body is doing this to try to keep me alive. But I don't need to fight with my body and pretend that this physiological response is the enemy. And I don't need to fight with myself because that doesn't help. That doesn't help me. And I think it's an important skill to have, being able to regulate emotional responses, break out of automatic habits and reactions that may not be very helpful, and learning to tame our emotions. Us controlling emotions and how we perceive our body's response, our body's physiological response, instead of letting emotion, fear, our fight, flight, our adrenaline control our actions and responses. And once again, it takes a lot of work, and I'm still working on myself to become better in this aspect and in other aspects as well. Learning how to control emotions is not just important, in my view, not just important in like situations where we need to act quickly and think quickly based on logic and not act on emotion, but also in human interactions. It's like, just thinking an example, why do people argue over stupid shit? It's because one person gets angry, starts raging at one person, starts raging at the other person. The other person doesn't know how to tame themselves, and then starts fueling the fire by raging back, and it's just back and forth nonsensical raging without actually addressing the issue at the core and why they are fighting in the first place. It's just one person rage, and then yeah, it's just emotional emotional responses, and then each person is fueling the other, and it just keeps going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. That is an emotional response and not a response based on logic and reasoning. That's all the thoughts I have for now, folks. I hope you enjoyed the video, and it's okay if you skipped over to the second part of this video talking about fear, or if you watched the whole thing, or if you just watched the Annabelle part, or I don't mind. It's okay either way. It's like I make YouTube content and I document my experiences and my journey, and you are more than welcome to pick and choose what you like to watch and what you don't like to watch and everything. Like it's free will. Like no one, I'm not coercing anyone into watching anything of mine if they don't want to. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching, folks, and I will see you in the next video.